All right. Welcome to the Yosemite Fit Show. I am your host, Brent. I'm very glad you could join me this week. Unfortunately, my co-host Steve Duggar wasn't able to make it this week, but yesterday was International Women's Day. And so it was a great opportunity to get two amazing women from our community, very involved both in health and fitness, a lot of history and experience there. And they're going to come on and talk about some women's specific health issues. So very excited to have these with us. I'll introduce them in just a second. But as always, first, I got to do a quick disclaimer before we get started with the show. Just a reminder that these topics, that we discuss are informational only, and you should always seek the advice of your medical professional, your doctors, trainers, other healthcare providers, nutritionists. None of the hosts or guests or anybody else involved are liable for any of your use of any of the information presented on this show. So absolutely, please speak with your doctor before implementing anything that you might hear today. All right, now that that's out of the way, today I am joined by Jenni Kiser, owner of Mountain Fitness in the gym in Mariposa, and Sharon Whitefawn of Whitefawn Wellness. And I just stumbled over your name.
That's
I'm so sorry.
It's not an easy.
Sharon Whitefawn. There, I got it. So Sharon is a yoga teacher and meditation teacher, certified fitness instructor, and also the author of the Create the Life You Desire guided journal, which it's on Amazon, right? I think I saw that.
You can get it through my website also.
Okay, great. So that's Sharon. I'm going to give a quick shout out to my friend Jenni here. Thanks to Jenni, the very first piece of equipment I bought for this home gym is the Tough Stuff weight rack. It's off camera over here, but that came from you. So in a way, you are responsible for all of this.
Oh, okay.
So
you're welcome.
The blame or the credit, whatever we want to say, but it started with you. So thank you very much for that. We've got a lot of great use out of that, and you've been a great member and inspiration of the community. So again, thanks both of you for joining me today. Besides my quick introduction, is there anything else you'd like people to know about you? What else can we know about Sharon?
You could also know that I have my master's in psychology. I'm also an ordained interfaith minister, as well as, fitness, yoga, and meditation. So I come from a very holistic point of view. So I weave in our mental health with our physical health and with our spiritual well-being. So that is my passion, is combining all of it, because I've done fitness, of course, as a gym owner back in the 90s in Philadelphia. Okay. And then I did my own personal work on my healing of my traumas in my childhood and addictions, overcoming addictions through working, mental health. And then realizing that spirituality was a really important piece. And that's actually what led me back to my native roots. And so I just combine all of that with pretty much everything I do.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. And so, do you do like coaching now and counseling?
I do. So I combine all of it, like I said, and I call it holistic therapeutic coaching.
Okay. And you're based in Mariposa, right?
I'm based in Mariposa physically, but I do a lot of work virtually as well for people all across the country.
All right, great. All right, Jenni, what do we need to know about you besides owner of Mountain Fitness Gym?
That's a loaded question. So I have a master's degree in conflict resolution and restorative justice, and we'll tap into a lot of Sharon's strengths as she works very internally with people. I have a perspective of the interpersonal connections of individuals and our community as a whole is where my heart and passion lies, very much with our instinct and how we impact those around us via our self-awareness, and also how that impacts us as individuals and how we can utilize that to the best of our advantage to live our best lives. So those are kind of my background, if you will. Also certified fitness instructor. Obviously, I've stepped away from that a bit lately to pursue other passions of mine, as some know about, but here we are.
All right. Yes.
Excited to be here.
Newly elected county supervisor. So
yes. It was a nail biter. Anyway.
All right. Well, like I said, today we are going to talk a little bit about women's health issues, a little bit of Steve and I had kind of a bro, very protein, testosterone laden episode. Hey,
wasn't going to say anything.
all about balance, though. So I'm very happy to get you guys on and talk a little bit more about that. So yeah, Jenni, you want to go ahead and get us started a little bit? I know you had a couple of specific topics here.
Yeah, so I think we're, I would think, hoping that Sharon and I will be able to bounce off of one another's strengths. I am currently perimenopausal, and I'll let her speak to her current state. But so I'm in this journey right now of figuring out my hormones and how they are impacting my fitness, how they're impacting my moods, how they're impacting my sleep, how they're impacting just, you know, my everyday train of thought, right? And how that fluctuates throughout the month. Right. So, I think I really want to hit on those topics. I've been blessed to be able to work with Mimi Carter at, Mariposa, I think is it Health and Wellness?
You know, they just changed the name on
Yeah,
it a little
anyway,
bit. She sent me the updated one, but
okay.
we'll put it in the show.
Yeah, so she's amazing, and I did some neurotransmitter testing, did some hormone testing, and learned a great deal about my rather high testosterone levels and issues with my adrenals, and working with some bioidentical progesterone to help with those issues. My cortisol levels, oddly, I think most people this will shock, are perfect. Anyway, yeah, so it's
all those burpees.
It's all those burpees.
Keeping them down.
It balances me out a little. Anyway, and just how we can help balance me back out again. I had gained about 30 pounds. Most people would have blamed that on COVID. I'm coming to realize that I was going through a very interesting transition in my life at the same time that was occurring. So, yeah, I would like to, I think, hit on some of those topics and the realities of what that's like for women as a whole, and also how it varies from woman to woman, right? So we have women also who experience struggling to gain weight just as much as those of us who struggle to lose weight. So I have genetically come from a very large family. And so my ability to lose weight is not as easy as people might think, and never has been. It never has been. It's always been a struggle for me. But then you add these hormone kind of imbalances into that, and
just makes it that much harder,
yeah,
right?
Makes it that much harder.
So real quick, I'm going to back up. You used the term perimenopause. I think it'd be good to kind of describe what that is to people.
Okay.
So can you give us a quick, either one of you, on how we would describe that? I'm thinking maybe some of us guys out there aren't the most familiar with that term. So, you know.
Here, the best advice I can give you, men, is just behave and be patient.
Yeah,
kind.
And you might want to get in a hotel room for a couple of days here and there.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, that's a pretty good idea.
It doesn't hurt. Poor Gary, you know, I feel bad for my husband when I went through it. I was just like, oh.
It's rough.
I would not have stayed with him had he treated me the way I treated him. God bless my husband.
Yeah, it's rough. Pete's reading books, you know, and so is Cooper. I have a 12-year-old son at home and he'll tell you, he tells you everything. I wonder why. He'll tell you there's hormones everywhere in our house.
I would say the hormones took my car keys and hijacked me and drove me to Dairy Queen. And it was my hormones were doing it. It wasn't me. I was innocent.
It's true. But perimenopausal is a phase that women go through. And
can we just back up and say, first there's premenopausal, and then there's perimenopause, and then there's postmenopause. Like we're born in some phase of menopause,
so be nice to us.
Yeah, really.
Anyway, we birth children. That's our superpower. We grow humans.
Thank you for that. We all appreciate that.
So it's a phase that can really take, you know, a number of years for some women to go through. It depends from woman to woman. I'm hoping that mine sometime soon will move into this next phase, which will also come with things that Sharon will post with us. Yeah. You know, my biggest symptom aside from the weight gain is ragefulness.
Yes.
So, ragefulness and defensiveness, you know, I have found that, and that was really what the defensiveness is what drove me in to go see Mimi Carter.
Okay.
And it is this uncontrollable, like I have to lock myself in a bathroom for 3 days sometimes. Like, you know, I mean, it's really unfortunate, but there are ways, through health and fitness, through the foods that you eat, through medical care, that you don't have to experience it as, deeply as I was until I found some of the ways to help myself. So I think these are the two largest symptoms that I deal with. And it's strange because I think for my husband and my son to watch this fluttering butterfly of energy, right, who wants to bounce around and make the whole world happy because I'm happy, go from that to this 2 or 3 days of like,
Or it comes out of nowhere. So it's like la la la, and then all of a sudden you're like, I'm like happy and go lucky, and then one word would trigger that. So maybe that's like defensiveness. I never even considered it like that. But then I just like turn around and like the fangs would come out and the claws, and like even for me witnessing, right? I'm like, I'm in this body. It's like this isn't me. Like that's why I said the hormones took over.
Wow.
I swear,
you're like watching yourself from the outside, and
you're like, this isn't me, but I can't stop. It's scary. It's really scary, people.
So, I mean,
but maybe not for everybody,
And so I was going to ask about yours, because it was, hearing Jenni describe her experience, and it sounded like you had a similar one, I'm sure that, these symptoms will vary depending on the person somewhat. But it is interesting to hear that, you both experienced this particular symptom and probably a lot of the others as well. So,
yeah, I mean, I think like it took me a couple of years to like really figure out like something's off, and to go get the help that I needed was important for me because post that comes a lot of guilt. I have an incredible amount of self-awareness, right? So I'm like, and then I'm like, I'm hurting my family and I'm mean to my kid and it's just this, and I'm not a mean person. And then it stops because
I'm better now. Okay. You can come around now.
That's right. Yeah. It's safe. So for me, I feel badly when I hurt people. I don't like to hurt people. That is not who I am.
I'd never considered that.
So very, very strange. It was a very strange thing. And so when I had gone to Dr. Carter and I told her, I am a wicked psycho beast. She's like, you? Yes. And you need to save the world because I'm going to burn it down in 3 days a month. There are 3 days where I consider myself to be a rather influential individual in my positivity. Well, it's equally as influential in the other direction, I found, very impactful in both directions. And so working my way through that has been key to not allowing the bad, right?
Sure.
To be what drive, because you burn the whole forest down in 12 seconds. And you're like, oh my gosh, I just did 30 years worth of work and I burned it all down in 12, and people don't understand. They don't understand. I go to school board meetings. I'm the president of the school board and I'm like, when somebody in the audience is saying something completely reasonable, but I don't agree with it. So I'm losing my mind in my mind, Yeah. So it's a monster.
Right.
It really
Glad you're here between us.
If you are listening and not seeing the video on this, I'm in between here. Yes, I'm good.
The signal for
I'm in the middle. So, and these two love each other, but they have sometimes some different perspectives on it.
We'll get there in a minute. Yeah, Sharon and I.
We're the same but different.
We are the same but different, but deep amount of love and respect for one another.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I don't know that our differences are really all that great, quite honestly. I mean, at the core, we are very, very, very much the same. In fact, you remind me so much about, like, when I first joined the gym, I was calling people back east, and I was like, oh my God, the gym that I'm at now, the girl who owns it is just like how I used to be.
Do you remember getting your butt slapped and somebody thought this was mine?
She did. Twice I got my butt slapped at that gym. Once, both people thought that I was her.
Oh, wow.
From behind, and one was her son.
Oh, okay. I was going to say.
Me in the butt, and then that other young lady did, and I literally had a handprint on my. I had a welt. I think I pulled my pants down and showed you.
Yeah,
there was a hand welt on my.
Oh, wow.
So that's how similar we are.
I'm like, welcome to my life.
I know. Exactly. Yes. So for sure, we have so much in common. So much in common. I just got 15 I think 15 years on you. And so, it's true. People mellow with age. We really do. I think at least I have mellowed with age. And plus I'm from Philadelphia originally. And, I'll tell people, don't get my Philly up. 'Cause when my Philly comes up, nobody likes that. I don't even like it. So I have that a little bit of an edge, and you described it earlier as today as being like intensely peaceful. How did you say it? I forget what your words.
Yeah, I think intensely. I don't know.
I forget what word you use, but it is a thing. Like, because I'm really intense in my passion for everybody just being calm. Would you just everybody calm down? Would you just calm down? And also work out really hard, because that's really important.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm all about my timer and get this done in this amount of time and how many can I squeeze in there. And then
But don't forget to be in touch with your mind's eye.
but love yourself the whole way. Exactly. I love that I'm working out really hard and I'm like, but I don't know. It's just that physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual cohesion that I practice with everything that I do. Like, I wake up in the morning and I say, what am I going to do physically? What am I going to do for myself emotionally? What am I going to do for myself spiritually? And what am I going to do when it's physical, mental, emotional, spiritual? So I make sure that I'm doing something in each of those quadrants, so that keeps me balanced and that brings harmony into my life.
Mm-hmm. I love that you said that, because I think it's a great segue into another topic I wanted to discuss, which is around this this concept of vanity. We live in a world that, and so Sharon gets up and practices this. I get up and practice all of those, except for how I'm going to impact the world around me. It has nothing to do with me. So it's two very different ways. And I have 3 spiritual counselors that I use to keep me in, because I'm crazy. I mean, if you hang out in my brain, how can I impact the world and give away all of this stuff, except for those 3 days out? You don't want that.
Right.
Some people might want that, but yeah, anyway, I'm not giving that part away.
Right.
Yeah. And so I really want to talk about this vanity thing. This word gets thrown around, and what does that mean exactly? Right. So when you're somebody who practices these amazing get up every day and internalize how to be peaceful, how to be kind to yourself, how to love yourself, how to all of those things. And then you get on the news, and my husband and I were watching it this morning, and it's talking about, Ozempic or the different surgery, different things that people can use for weight loss purposes. And it was this leap. They said, well, there's folks that are using it for vanity, and then there's folks that are using it for health, like their health, because they're obese. And I'm like, that's a big jump. Right. So we live in a world where we're trying to teach people to be self-aware, take care of yourself and love yourself and all these things. Yeah. But it's not okay to want to lose 15 pounds using a medical treatment. You have to, where's the line? So does it have to be 50 pounds? Does it have to be 8? Where is it that the world decides it's not vanity? And I've come to the conclusion that I don't think that's up to the world.
No, definitely.
Each individual, and you mentioned where's the line, and I again, it's shades of gray. Everything these days has to be black or white, but it's shades of gray.
Yeah.
There's vanity, but then there's also the confidence that comes with losing weight, being more fit, more healthy, and being happy with how you look. But that confidence doesn't necessarily translate to vanity, but a lot of people get shamed into, oh, you're just vain trying to lose weight or something like that.
It's strange. I have been an attractive woman my entire life. I'm sorry, and have had folks have told me, the only reason you're successful is because you're pretty. Okay. Ouch. You know what I mean? Or,
haters gonna hate.
And Sharon and I feel the same about this for sure. Haters, I'm sorry you feel that way. I do love the person I am, and I used to feel guilty for being pretty. I remember having boyfriends are a great example. They're like, oh, we want to date these hot chicks, but then we get them, and then we're all jealous and psycho, and you're like, Well, okay, you can't have it both ways.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not my fault I'm pretty. So go get another. You're not locking me in a box somewhere and only taking me out when it's convenient for you. Right. So kind of, we're in this really strange time. We're encouraging women to love themselves and feel good about themselves. And one of the things I love getting up in the morning, making my hair pretty, putting on my makeup. You know, when I battled my addiction, I had written some little goals down, you know, and things that I wanted to really work back toward. Because when I walked out of jail, I walked out with somebody else's clothes on. And I'm like, okay, I want expensive shampoo.
Hey,
Dumb
you can
goal.
afford it.
Hey.
That's a dumb goal.
So, but to get
Goal.
there, right, that's a whole different story.
Right.
So, yeah, I think it's
work.
We need to blow this open. It is not vanity to want to feel good about yourself and feel good inside of your own skin.
I agree.
That is not vanity.
No. But can I speak from my point of view? I love that you said that you always knew that women felt beautiful and pretty and you had validation. I, on the other hand, had body dysmorphia. I mean, I owned a gym. I was healthy. I was fit. My body apparently looked great. I was on the cover of Philly Health and Fitness magazine.
Wow.
But every time I looked in the mirror, all I saw was this fat blob. And like that picture on the magazine, I would be like, oh my God, your legs are so fat. Oh my God. Like, I never felt pretty. Right?
Maybe this is a generational thing too.
It could be.
Because we're shifting.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
So I just didn't. And so I worked on myself and I worked on that psychologically. That was one of the things that, you know, got me to becoming a therapist, you know, getting my master's in psychology and doing therapy is because I was therapizing myself. Right. But so then I started to work on that. So then I was like, okay. And it took a long time. It's not easy. And so working physically, making ourselves healthy and fit makes us actually feel good for all of the chemical hormones that exercise does. And we know that by now.
Sure.
And so then I feel good mentally, and it makes me want to take better care of myself so that I look good, so that I feel good, so that I take care of myself, so that I look good and I feel good.
Yeah.
So I'm hearing these lines like vanity's over here. I'm like, we're drawing these lines, but I think they're interrelated and that they feed off of one another. And I think that that's a healthy thing. I mean, it just depends on what motivates people and, you know, as individuals. But for me, when I exercise, I feel good. When I feel good, I look better. You know, it's not that it could be the other way around, but you know, vanity, please. I drink coffee through a straw. One of my clients was like, why do you drink your coffee through a straw? I'm like, because I want to keep my teeth white. You know, like, is that vanity? Right? I don't know. Probably. And then, like little things like that. Like I won't,
Making a note.
I know, right? And I do love
great.
wine. I mean, anybody who knows me knows I like my wine. But I definitely
Right there.
do not drink wine as much as I used to because I notice now that I'm an elder that it makes my eyes puffier than they normally are because when you get older, your eyes just get puffy. And I was just like, no, if I drink wine in the morning, I look like crap. So I won't because of vanity, but at the same time, that boosts my health and it boosts my
Right.
self-esteem. And then I feel better and then I exercise more. And it's like, it just goes around the wheel like that. And I think that's a shame when we want to draw a sharp line and say it's this or it's that. You know, like friendships make us feel good. When we feel good, we have more friends.
Right. And it's, sorry, but yeah, that's circular, you know, and you're absolutely right. You know, the brain body connection, you know, and, you know, how working out makes you feel, the changes it makes in your body, that reinforces your confidence. So you want to do it more. And it's important to realize though that the opposite can also be true. You know, you can get stuck in a downward cycle, you know, and I don't feel like doing anything. And then you don't work out and then you're not, you know, looking and feeling as good. And that can cycle as well.
Into depression and anxiety and other like serious mental health issues.
Right.
I would have clients with depression and I would say, go take a walk from your front door to your mailbox. That's it. Just do that. You know, and then after a while, they're like, you know, that did help me feel better. I said, go, no, take 10 steps past your mailbox.
Right.
You know, and then by then they're like, oh my God, I feel so much better just from walking.
End of the week, you're walking around the block, you know, the next thing you know, you're signing up for 5K or something. Right. Yeah. So
I'm just like, whoa, all of it feeds off of the other, upward spiral or downward spiral. And so to draw lines and say, this is good and this is bad,
Things
I
can
can't
be
do that.
2, 3, 4, 5 things at once.
Exactly.
Right.
You know, and I think that doing all of these things for yourself, also for someone like me, I love how I can impact the world around me, right? So when I'm not doing these things for myself, if I don't get up in the morning and I don't exercise or I don't, you know, I feel differently about how I impact the world when I'm not being kind to who I am, right? So, and embracing who I am. So, yeah, I think my whole life, I have always felt like a confident woman, and I've always felt like I was a good person, but was told maybe this is, it's making me think about this generational thing. You're not supposed to feel good about yourself.
You
That
do, but
makes you unhumble. That makes you vain.
Right.
That makes you, especially as a woman, right? And I don't know how men experience this, Brent. So jump in anytime. But
I'm probably not a man that has experienced that, but yeah. So
yeah, you know, I don't know, but I know that, yeah, I mean, it was like, if you are too confident, if you are too this, if you are too that, that's how I grew up, very much in that of, no, it's too much.
Right.
It's too much. You're too smart. You're too pretty. Your hair shouldn't look that nice. You shouldn't wear makeup. You shouldn't elevate yourself internally in any way, shape, or form, because
like when
that means X, Y, and Z.
yeah, you're gonna get a label stamped on you. And like if a man, and this, you know, again, this could be generational, and I do see some shifts in this way because, you know, women didn't used to run offices. They didn't used to be CEOs.
Right.
And then when they became that, a man in that same role, he would be like an assertive CEO, but she's right.
So,
Right, exactly. Like that's
and
cultural.
wait, what about instincts too? You know,
talk about
let's talk about instincts.
Do tell.
Oh my gosh.
What's your
So
thoughts
if
on
I'm
instincts?
growing up my whole life feeling a certain way, right? My insides are telling me something about myself, and then I was told to deny them. What's the impact of that on the world around me?
Yeah.
Right? How much does the world lose from that connection that we are all looking for? All of us are looking for connection. How much do we lose that when we don't tap into our instincts and allow ourselves to be exactly who we are? Right?
I'd say a lot.
I lost a great deal of time that I could have given back to this world by trying to be something that I wasn't, because I was told I wasn't supposed to feel the way that I felt about myself. So strange, right? It's a very, you know, other people battled. It's the opposite, you know, for me as it was for you. Like, I'm thinking to myself, oh gosh, I have a lot to offer. And my family's telling me you're not allowed to feel that way about yourself. You know, and my instincts are like, yes, you are. And I'm like, well, they must be these, like, maybe not. You know, so the instincts are key.
I used to think I was crazy for a really long time. I was like, you must be crazy, because my outside and my inside was two different messages. A lot of data. The data out here and the data in here didn't match. And I was just like, yeah.
So
that still happens a lot in our world.
And that's an amazing way to say that. But so can you guys point to anything, I mean, that helped you realign that?
Fitness.
So fitness. Great. How about you, Sharon?
So fitness was my first thing that I did, because I was told I was stupid because you're a girl. I didn't even, like, they don't get me started. So you're stupid. And so I didn't go to college because I was stupid. Stupid people don't go to college. But I was a fitness person, and I was just like, well, I guess I'll just open a gym then. So like, I'm like, I guess
How hard could that be?
Exactly, right? I'm like, I could do that. I know how to exercise. And I was already working for a couple gyms. I was working at a Gold's Gym. I was like the fitness director of the Gold's Gym at that point. And then I was just like, where do you go from here? And I was like, well, I guess, you know, the next step is just opening my own gym, like a bumbling Winnie the Pooh. I just was like, well, here's some space that's for rent. Well, here's some equipment I could get. And
We'll figure it out.
And I did. I like put local gyms out of business, and we had a banging gym. Like, it's still a strong community. Shout out to Body Shop Center. So
Instinct.
So then I worked on that, you know, part of myself. And then I was just like, well, okay, physically I'm fit, even though I had that body dysmorphia. I was getting people telling me you look great. And I'm just like, well, she's the one that looks better than me, whatever. And then I was like, what's wrong with me? Because I had addictions during that time. And I was just like, okay, when I look in the mirror, I do not like what I see, and I'm not talking physically now, right? So, and then I had to really look at what was going on with me. Why was I having these addictions? And so, um, I started working on that. I mean, at that time, there wasn't the internet, right? So I'm buying all these self-help books and I'm learning all this kind of stuff. And I'm just like applying it to me. That was a long journey. And then once I did my mental health part, I was like, there's still a piece missing. Like I've wrestled with my traumas. I've healed my past. I've done all of that. I'm physically healthy. I know how to eat right and exercise, but I still don't feel whole and complete inside, which is what led me to study and research more about spirituality. I forget if I said at the intro that I'm also an ordained interfaith minister,
Right.
because I went 2 years into the seminary just to learn more about spirituality. And that's how I came to answer your question, very long-winded answer to the question, is to work on ourselves physically. Yes, exercise is important. Also, our mental health is important. And I'm not saying everybody needs to be in therapy, but it doesn't hurt to have somebody who's, of sound mind trying to guide you through healing the traumas, dealing with the addictions, or whatever drives us to those not so healthy behaviors. And then spiritually, I'm not talking about religion either, because I was 12 years Catholicism. And then once I started doing that, I was like learning the seminary I went to was every world religion. We learned about every single solitary world religion. And so learning all of that like really opened up my blinders. And I was just like, oh, no wonder these earthly things like earth-based stuff, plant medicine and spirits. Like I would talk to spirits. I'm like, why nobody else sees? Like spirits come to me. They just do. And I have conversations with spirit and I'm guided by spirit. And so, that's when the outside and inside started to match. So when I was working on myself physically, doing my mental health, doing my spirituality, then I was whole and complete within. And that's when a real shift started taking. That's when I started to honor myself. That's when I got out of that unhealthy relationship. I was with my first husband for 20 years. I'm a really good friends today, but it wasn't a healthy relationship for me, right? And that's what led me into a beautiful, healthy relationship with my husband today. So that's how I reconcile that within. And that makes me a better person. And I'm able to connect with more people because I get it. I mean, I haven't had a client that didn't have something that I struggled with. I'm like, yeah, I get that. Like I literally actually get that. And here's what I did to help me. And so I don't know if that fully answers your question.
No, that was
But
great.
that's really how I practice. That's how I live my life. That's what I teach with everything I'm doing.
Yeah, and just a journey, right? We're all on a journey.
Yes.
You've got to find your path.
Yes.
What works for you. Fitness was the big key for you. You were into the fitness, but the spirituality and thing was kind of the key for you. So it's important for us, I think, to remember men or women, but especially with women, and some of the things we've talked about today, being told you're not smart, you shouldn't feel good about being pretty, things like that. Maybe sometimes a little more to overcome, but just finding what works for you, what draws you in, I think, and is a great way to do it. I do just want to remind everybody that you're listening on KRYZ 98.5 LPFM Mariposa. All right, fitness. That was
So yeah, I think so. Fitness for me, I think that the gym was key because I was able to being alone. Is one of the most important things for me to be who I am every single day. Okay. I had denied myself who I was for so many years via external, I don't know if you want to call them obligations, but what the world tries to tell you or your family or people, whatever, try to tell you. That when I got in the gym and I was able to be alone and stick those headphones on, I'm like, this feels good. Like being Jenni feels good. Right. So, my instinct, and everyone's instinct, we all have this thing inside of us that tells us who we are, right? Whether it's good or bad. And I think most of us deny the one that tells us that we're good, and you can see the look on Sharon's face because she's into trauma-informed care, right? Where I'm over here, like, knock that crap off. And you're going to celebrate your inside, your internal and that's going to be okay, right? You get to give yourself permission to be that. And so
sorry.
I spend a lot.
I can bleep.
Yeah, we can bleep.
Yes.
Good. So anyway, I like to spend time alone because my goal and mission and purpose and passion where I am in my life right now is impacting the world in that sense. right? As reminding each and every one of us to get up every day, tap into who you are, because the more you recognize who you are and you have to offer the world, the more we're going to have human connection, or the less we're going to have conflict, because you're going to appreciate who you are and what you have to offer, which makes you appreciate everyone else around you and what they have to offer. You're less conflicted, right? You're less getting up on a daily basis trying to figure out what's different about them versus just loving who they are, right?
Yeah.
So I love to be alone. I love being alone because I can tap into that person inside of me that really, Jenni's a great human,
Yeah.
you know, and everybody should get to feel that way. It's key to a healthy society, to a healthy community, whether it's in a gym, whether it's sitting here, the three of us at this table, looking at each of you for your strengths, right? Is genuinely how I get up every day and function in this world. When I sit with a group of 30 people, I get to feel their awesomeness because I've taught myself about mine, right? I quit denying myself that. It's so important. So it's like, it's all of these spiritual things that you're talking about. I just break it down. You know, my husband tells me all the time, can you just keep it simple? He tells me all the time, just keep it simple, Jenni. And I'm like, all right. I don't know what the hell that means because that's not my gift. But I know when I'm in that gym and I've got my headphones on and the very first time it happened, I'll never forget it. I'll never forget the first day I walked in a gym. I had tried, you know, all the other things with group fitness, this, that, and the other. And I stuck the headphones on and I felt myself. I'll never forget that day.
Wow.
You know, and I went, oh my gosh,
That's
I need to be alone more.
huh.
You know, I was just telling Sharon, I had this massive kind of breakdown, a little post COVID, that it was one of the best things on the planet. You know, I know people run around celebrating breakdowns. It's not like that for me. It's more like, oh, another opportunity. You know, there's always opportunity and conflict for me. So, I had this big, huge, massive breakdown and, got to celebrate the fact that I had been, I'm an overachiever. and I like that about myself. So,
Understatement of the year, folks.
Yeah, I'm not going to change that, right? So I do have therapists tell me, you need to this and you need to that. And I'm like, I don't need to do anything. If you would like to hop on board with help keeping me on track, great. If you don't want to, step aside. So the balancing act that I was doing, it was an act. This is what I love to do. I love to do everything in moderation, right? So I had been balancing all these bricks, as she called it. The lady I was working with, it was like the Leaning Tower of Pisa, you know, and I had this breakdown where it all just fell, right? And she said, you know what's exciting about this? You can just put the bricks back that you want.
Wow.
I was so pumped in that moment. You know what I mean? I'm like, all right, I'm broken. Where's the opportunity? And she just pointed it out. And then that was that, right? So it does not have to be, for me anyway, it's not that complicated, right? If I'm feeling a certain way, right? I go spend time alone.
Yeah. Exactly.
And then I go, oh, and then I trust myself and I trust my instincts.
Yeah.
And I know who I am. You know, so, and I feel very blessed to have gotten that, you know, and I would say that's come full circle in the last 10 years or so for me. And I have blossomed since then. Right. So I'm excited about that. Right. And then what's even better, you get to give it away. Right. I mean, if you really have it, you don't have to worry about giving it away because it's not going to be gone from you. We're talking about trees. It's like roots. Here you go. Have some.
Yeah. And the fruits of your labor that people can pick. Like, that's how I feel like the people are drawn to us. You know, I think that people who do their work, like you're drawn to certain professionals, right? Because you can see like, oh, they have something, right? People are drawn to people who have done the work. And they're like those trees, like an apple tree, you know, just when you said tree, I thought apple tree. Oh, yeah. They're grounded. That person's grounded. And then they've got all this fruit, right? To give, to share.
Right.
And so those who are hungry, so to speak, can come to that apple tree and eat of that fruit. the fruit of knowledge.
Yeah. And then don't forget to take care of yourself, right?
Yeah.
Well, sure.
You can't let everybody pick all the apples.
Right.
No.
You got to go put your headphones on, hang out in the gym.
Well, that's the importance
that's-
of staying grounded, staying connected, staying rooted.
And, recharging, I mean, I love being in social situations and things, but I'm a natural introvert, and so I do have to recharge, in private, whatever that is,
Yeah.
working out or just spending time, whatever I'm doing. And so, it sounds, I can really relate to, I like to work out alone, or just with one other person or so usually, but not in like fitness classes and things like that. I used to be a big road cyclist and I would, ride my bike, but, I didn't like spin classes, for example. So, but there are people that just love them and that's what energizes them. So, whatever it takes to refill your, recharge your batteries, to be the best that you can be. And then, you take that out into the rest of the world.
That's such a great point. And to support one another. I hear so many people saying, you must weight train. Weight training is the best thing for you. And other people, you must run. Running is the best thing for you. You must bike. Biking is the best. Spin class is the best. It's like, no, like what's the best for you? Explore and experiment with enough things. Like you found that yours is alone, like I'm a natural extrovert and, coming to be silent and to sit and be alone has been a beautiful journey for me, because I'm always like owning gyms and being a community person back east, involved in this, that, and the other thing. And I loved every bit of it. And then when I moved here and I live on 23 acres with no neighbors, I was like, oh, this is what being alone is like. And I really like it. And I can do both. And I'm really comfortable in both. And that's just for me, is what I've come to discover from my personal journey. And I think that's what's really important is to encourage one another. And I'm encouraging anybody that's listening or watching this to explore and experiment. Don't worry about what other people say. And don't buy that latest fad thing or whatever they're marketing out there because they don't know you. They don't know you. So it's our responsibility to ourselves is to know ourselves, to get to know ourselves. And it's such a beautiful journey. And sometimes it is hard, but so what? That's the stuff that makes us stronger, right? It's like weight training for your spirit, weight training for your soul, weight training for your mind, weight training for your body. No, it's not easy. But when you're done, you're stronger physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually.
And we have in Mariposa, we have multiple fitness opportunities here.
Oh,
right?
So much.
Sure.
So go try them all. And where you land is where you know. Okay. So there's this thing that's going to tell you, right?
Yeah.
And then do that. So I love to lift heavy. I do not love spin class. Okay.
Right.
Great.
But
So you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You love spin class and dancing. There's a Mariposa Fitness Studio, right, Melina?
Yep.
The classes that woman has in there are amazing. Go, right?
Yeah.
Go find your thing. It's so important.
Yeah.
she the one that does the silk hanging? Is that
No, I don't think so. Carissa McKee does that.
Okay.
She's contracted with our gym.
Okay.
She doesn't, it's like her own business, but she works in fitness and she does the silks.
Okay.
And then I think there's what is that one yoga where they hang in the
With the hoop. Is that what you're talking about?
Oh, that you did it.
Oh, aerial yoga.
Okay.
Yeah, aerial
yeah.
yoga with the aerial.
Yes, I think Melina is. She was. I saw pictures of
that's
yoga.
Yeah.
Sharon
much
does
out
that
there.
one-on-one. Sharon does yoga classes. We've worked together for a long time.
Yeah, we did.
There's yoga classes at her house.
I do. And I was doing that aerial yoga class. Can I just say something about that aerial hammock yoga? Not the big silk that hangs from the ceiling, but the smaller one. And I taught a class at the gym for you. And it was all elders. It was like at 10 a.m. on a weekday. So who was coming but elders? And these people, and I was like, everybody go to their doctor and tell them you're going to do this first and make them sign a paper that it's okay to do. So I was scared. I was nervous, right? These people came out, these women, and they blew me away. I'm like, do this. And I'm real careful because, I'm liability, all that. And I was like, oh, there's too many of you. We had them hanging all over the place. And these ladies were like flipping upside down. They're making stuff. I was like, how about this? And I was like, oh my gosh, blew my mind. So that's my point in this whole story is that it doesn't matter how old you are. Do something new, do something different, try something weird. I'm one of those fringe people. I like the stuff that's weird on the fringes. I love the fringe stuff.
And there's And there's lots of, I mean, like you're saying, there's lots of it here in Mariposa. There's weightlifting, there's spinning, there's yoga, there's,
hiking groups,
running groups. There's all kinds of stuff around here.
And I don't know how other people feel, but it's not competition. Like, I know that the people that are in this industry in our community want you to be healthy.
Right.
That's it.
I don't care how you get there.
Yeah. That's the only motive.
I'll help you. I mean, if somebody wants to lift heavy, they know where to go. If somebody wants to do mindfulness, yoga, meditation, they know where to go. If somebody wants to.
Goals. And you're are you doing personal training stuff here now?
No.
Not yet?
Nope.
Yet.
Not yet.
Put that in the universe.
Right? It's out there.
Bioacoustic sound medicine.
Oh.
Yes.
You got
those crystal bowls, gongs. I use metals, skins, and crystal bowls, and it's really, really trippy.
It's so cool if you have a brain that has, I have ping pong balls, and it is the weirdest thing. So I had to suffer through the yoga part first to get, she did a combination kind of yoga sound thing. So I had to like hold poses and the thing that Jenni doesn't do well where I'm like, anyway, it's something about those chakras. I don't know. Anyway, yeah. So, but then we got to the bowl part, and then you lay there. And you want to talk about what calms ping pong balls down? These sounds just vibrate your brain, and it's like, imagine all the little ping pong balls just vibrating, and they sit in a bowl.
Wow.
And I'm like, don't stop.
It's really trippy. And it's not just your brain. It's all the neurons in the cells of your body. So it's frequency, it's energy and frequency. Like everything on the planet is energy and frequency, even that plate on that machine. Yeah. And it does. It writes, I say it writes yourself. Like whatever's going on, it'll balance. It just balances out. And it's really passive. You just lay there. Wow. You just lay there. It's super passive.
Oh my gosh, it's the best. That's all it's about. Well, for me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, I shouldn't say the best. I know.
Well, there's a lot of bests.
There's a lot of bests. Thank you. Yeah. My frequency.
Yeah, no, it's powerful. I love
it.
But and again, back to the opportunities, and we were talking about fitness stuff, but these types of things as well. There's a lot of health and wellness things in our community, and that's what we're trying to do a little bit more with the show, is bring some more awareness to that. Develop a directory and resources for people to really know what's out there and who to connect with, and so you can go try all these things. I mean, some of these things I didn't even know about. So it's just it seems like there's more popping up all the time. We just had the hormone doctor. Was it Mimi
Carter? And we'll talk about that. What is it called? Gosh darn it. I feel terrible. These are my friends. I know the world. So what is it called, you guys? Mariposa Aesthetics or something like that. I can't remember. Anyway, it's just not popping into my brain. I go there. That's what I could tell you. And I love it. So they have
the street from the courthouse.
It's across the street from the courthouse. So they do neurotransmitters. They do hormone therapy. They do the shots if you're interested in losing a few pounds. They have this machine that they hook you up to for your abs. That is really, I have fun. And I'm like, okay, that's really something.
They also have a nutritionist
They have a nutritionist. They have a massage therapist. So it's Dr. Carter, she's doctor. And then you have the two, you have a Hannah Fouch, who is what's the one right under a doctor? Oh, a nurse practitioner, right? And then Melissa Fluharty Montoya, who is an RN, and she does psychiatric wellness. Okay. So she really three cool minds. And then Lisa Wackerman, who does all the IV therapies. Right. So if also testosterone stuff for men, I've been trying to encourage guys, go in there, figure out if you're Rose Fluharty just started the nutrition stuff, I think, with them. Yes. And then the Brandauer girl is doing massage therapy there. Then Melina Mabon obviously has Mariposa Fitness Studio with tons of different types of classes that people
seriously for about a town the size of Mariposa.
Yeah,
there is so much.
Yeah, I think Pure. Somebody just bought Pure. I don't know a lot about them and what they're going to do with that place. I don't know if you connected.
Yeah, so his name's Ariel Long, and he will be on our Thursday episode coming up to talk about what's going on with Pure. So yeah,
good. So that studio,
there's a lot.
Yeah, there's the woman who's got mountain yoga up there.
I went there for a while when
yeah.
Is it
Jill?
No.
Shoot.
Oh, we're spacing.
Anyway,
We'll find
Yeah.
Anyway,
Twitter.
you know what?
Yeah.
We'll get a list together so that it can be posted somewhere. But there's a lot of,
They just have to click on it.
yeah, I mean, my specialty is women lifting heavy weights. That's where I eat, breathe, and live. So, yeah.
Yeah.
And then we talk,
Sorry.
and again, with the weightlifting, I'm just going to touch on that a little bit. I just feel that it's so important. Maybe not for everybody, but weightlifting, strength, whether it's weightlifting, you can do body weight, push-ups, pull-ups, or things like that. But, it's so pivotal. And so many women out there have the impression that they're going to get big and bulky and, do all that, right? If they start doing this, and it's not how that works. You would have to take a whole lot of stuff in order to become female bodybuilder like, but it would have to pay such dividends, doing some type of strength training, whatever you're comfortable with, and even yoga, with the poses and the, the flows and everything. And, can add that
mobility and arthritis.
It's so
Speak
important.
for the older population.
Yeah.
Bone density,
all of it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, just the health side of that for women is incredible, right?
And
yeah.
women should not be afraid to strength train because you're not going to get big and bulky. It's going to do all the right things for you. Like you said, bone density and all the other things that does for you. So I'm glad you touched on that.
Yeah.
I really want to make
And
that
I
point.
have seen women bulk up. I just want to be clear about that. Depending on a person's individual physiology, some women can build muscle mass. And if that is happening to you and you don't like the look, then stop.
Right.
Go down to lighter weight. Do lighter weights, higher weights.
Yeah. And I'm one of those people. My testosterone levels are high for a woman. So I build muscle very easily. If you want, you just have to be a little more you have to be self-aware in everything you do.
Right.
Absolutely. You get a car. It's the same thing as when you go to the gym, right? So, just be a little more self-aware depending on the look. Of course, I don't mind women who get buff. So it just kind of depends, right? I can't lift the way I used to because I'm not getting any younger. Right. Things just changed. Right. You don't need much to have a generalized health about your bone density, about your joint health, about your mental health. You don't need, it could be 10-pound hen. That's what I used this morning with my little, hip training I was doing. Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't need much. You really don't.
And and again, always, of course, consult your health professional, your doctor, trainer, nutritionist, for anything like this, because if you don't know what you're doing, it can be dangerous. So you want to make sure that your personal trainers are great help with that. Available Mount Fitness, Pure, all over. But always check with your doctor and make sure you're healthy enough to do these activities. But they are, I think just can have a huge impact. I'm a big believer in not just lifespan, but health span, trying to stay as healthy and active as long as we can, before age, and that, invariably, does what it does to all of us. But, not just, you don't want to live the last 20 years of your life sitting in a chair. We want to be out there experiencing life. So
exactly.
And, I think we can both speak to that. We're lucky to have been fitness instructors and worked with the senior community. If you are someone who likes to absorb wisdom by those who came before you, such as myself and Sharon,
absolutely,
you listen to these people. And I remember when I was 24 years old and they were telling me, you better this, you better that, hey this, hey that. Listen. And I did. And I'm not injured. And my hips aren't bad. And my shoulders aren't bad. And, listen, because they tell you. Right? So it's so key. Moderation and balance. And I know that sounds funny coming from somebody like me. I am someone, I do not encourage people to go bananas the way I do on everything that I do. Like, unless you're like me. So I'm me. I like that stuff. I enjoy that. Right. Most people Sharon would tell you if it's impacting you in a negative way, you need to stop. So that's
you're having shoulder problems, hip problems. Yeah, don't do it.
Stop general will tell you that's instinct, right? The world is going to tell you. So old people will tell you, hey, make sure you slow yourself, pay attention, and then you do, and then all of a sudden you're not broken.
Exactly.
You know,
And your
there's
body will tell you. Learn to listen to your body. Those whispers that I was talking about. Listen to the whispers. If it's, I had one person say, it hurts when I do overhead shoulder presses with 50-pound dumbbells. I'm like, well, then don't do that.
yeah, then do it. Yeah, then don't do that. It also
Stop
hurts
it.
to have a heart attack. It also hurts to have diabetes. It also
Right,
hurts
yeah.
to take medications because your blood pressure's high and your
Exactly.
cholesterol's high.
Yeah.
Right? So I was giggling. My husband just had shoulder surgery, and he's a pretty hardcore athlete. You know, he wins Spartan races.
He's a stud.
And
shout out to Pete.
Yeah, my husband is a freaking stud. Anyway, the people go, well, look what happened. You had to have shoulder surgery. I mean, he could have had a heart attack. Right. So I think it's kind of an interesting trade-off, right?
Yeah. My one friend says, pick your heart.
Yeah. Pick your
Pick
heart.
your heart.
That's
I love that she says that. She's like, pick your heart.
Yep.
Yeah.
But-
and then I want to talk a little bit about nutrition. Speaking of hard.
All right. So let's go quick. Yeah. Sorry.
I'll make it really quick because nutrition doesn't have to be hard. There's a really simple formula that's been around for generations. It's the 50-30-20 formula, where 50% of your calories come from proteins, 30% come from carbohydrates, 20% come from fats. It's called balance. Your body needs carbohydrates to sustain. That's where you get your energy from. Your proteins is what's going to help build and maintain muscle. There's actually a lot involved around brain function with both proteins and fats. We need to get into all that. And fats are also essential to your body's well-being.
Right.
So you don't cut any of those things out, and you don't overdo any of those things. 50-30-20. And one of the biggest weight loss tricks I've ever given to people on the planet is just stop eating carbohydrates after 2:00 in the afternoon, right? You want to eat a bowl of pasta, just do it for lunch. Cool. And then be done with it for the day. Then you go after, meats and veggies for the rest of the day. So super simple. It doesn't have to be hard.
Right.
It doesn't have to be hard. You've got 4 calories in every protein, 9 calories in every fat, 4 calories in every carbohydrate. I know you think that's some crazy math shit. It's really not.
She's right. Those too.
I'm not going to listen to your math. Real bad.
Right.
I mean, you are your book, you guys.
Right.
It's inside of you. You don't need TikTok. You don't need YouTube. You don't need anything other than listen to yourself.
Your instincts and your intuition.
Instincts and your intuition will take you a very long way.
It's really true.
It's very, very true. If you eat something and it makes you feel like crap, don't eat it. This isn't complicated. No refined sugars. No this, no that. Oh my God, it's soy. It's what?
Yeah, it doesn't have to be that complicated.
Just relax.
Listen to your body. If you feel like crap, stop eating.
Yeah, park
If
a
your
little-
eyes are puffy after drinking too much wine, don't drink that much wine.
Yeah, park a little further away from the Costco, front of Costco.
Right.
It's not a big deal. Whatever. It's all right. You'll be all right.
Where's the best place to get in touch with each of you? Where do we find you guys online? Facebook or websites?
Facebook is probably your best bet to find me at either the gym's Facebook page, Mountain Fitness, or just look me up, Jenni Kiser. I am not related to Kaiser Permanente. It's Kiser. Okay, so there's no A in my name, so you can look me up on Facebook or again, Mountain Fitness. That's probably the best way to find me.
And if you're interested in holistic health, fitness, and wellness, mind, body, and soul, you can check out my website, whitefawnwellness.com. White like the color, fawn like the baby deer, wellness.com.
Yeah,
Excellent.
sometimes I make her fawn black when I introvert her.
It does happen.
Yeah, the logo. Anyway, she's like, it's not black, Jenni.
It's white fawn.
White, black, fawn, Jenni, white fawn. Right.
And we'll have those links and put up some screenshots here to make it easy to find you guys both. I was going to mention a couple of quick upcoming events. The Paseo de Mariposa is coming up on Sunday, April 28th. There's a 5K and 8K-ish course and a 12K course, as well as a course for kids as well that you could come out and run. So again, that's Sunday, April 28th. We'll leave from, I think it usually starts at the courthouse, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the very next day on April 29th is a Grizzly Dash coming up at the fairgrounds. And tell us a little bit about that again.
So that is an obstacle course race and we're raising money for the local sports teams, jerseys, all the different things that we're running low on as sports teams. So it's about a 15-minute torture session that feels like 3 hours. But if you hang out, with Sharon, she can teach you how to do that in a way that doesn't feel like 3 hours, So
Hacks.
anyway,
Fitness hacks.
it's fitness hacks. Yeah, it's intense, but anybody can come and do it. We will find a way for it to work for you. So yeah, fundraiser, big fundraiser.
Come out and support. We'd love to see you there. So that's great. All right. Well, again, thank you so much. This has been the Yosemite Fit Show with Brent Shazer, Jenni Kiser, Sharon Whitefawn. Thanks for joining us. If you'd like to be a guest on the show or sponsor an episode, have any questions for the hosts or, future guests that you'd like us to answer, please email us at show@yosemite.fit. We'd love to get any feedback you might have. The more we get, the better. We're trying to make this a great show for our community, bring on, guests that have been requested and things like that. So, yes, please reach out, get in touch with us. We'd love to hear from you. All right. So again, we've been listening on KRYZ 98.5 LPFM Mariposa. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you next week. Thanks, ladies.
Thank
Thanks so much.
you. I want
Hug. Yes. You too, Sharon. Oh, that was great.